I don't know what problem new Congressman Madison Cawthorn has with trees, but at least he's trying to work it out in a weird way. Take a look at this video that he had apparently posted and since has taken down from a couple of years ago. Okay, so Quay, I wanted to make sure that you comment on this because I don't know how familiar you are with Madison Cawthorn. Are you familiar with this representative? Okay, well, you're about to.
Yes, I've seen him before, yeah.
Okay, so for people who might not know though, let's see. He apparently, I feel so uncomfortable even acknowledging this, but he has apparently lied about the tragedy that took his ability to walk away. He lied about his education history. He apparently was so well known as a sexual harasser and predator at college that all of the women at the college knew not to be alone with him. And he has denied all of that. Just an awful guy. He took this weird trip to Adolf Hitler's bunker and like in a social media post referred to him as the Fuhrer. You can start to put together some of these things. So anyway, he wants to be a tough guy. Like he's one of the guys, Quay, that triggers the libs. I assume that's what's going on here, is that that's supposed to be masculine?
I just want to be careful, so I'm not diagnosing anybody or,
No diagnosis.
Necessarily even commenting on this particular individual. But what I see there is sort of like a classic superiority complex, right? Which is to say somebody who poses superiority as a way, or projects superiority as a way to defend against a felt inferiority, right? And guys really tend to do this very often in a sort of hyper masculine kind of way. Freud called this castration anxiety.
Oh.
And so it's just this idea about sort of losing one's losing one's manhood, losing one's power. And so having to overemphasize that. The kind of classic example is the guy in the big truck, right? Or the short guy who is always trying to pick fights. And so I don't want to, comment on his sort of physical condition there, but you can imagine somebody who has a disability that kind of interrupts perhaps how people see them in terms of their strength and their power, perhaps interrupts how people see them in terms of their sexuality, in terms of their romantic viability, right? That this type of person might need to feel the need to overtly prove how strong and powerful he is. So.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know a lot about the guy.
I think it's just a right wing thing.
Case, but I would say that's what might be going on.
I get what you're saying. I think I could imagine this being Ted Cruz when he was younger. I could imagine this being almost any right winger, and I would go so far as to say that they've all done it. They just haven't necessarily posted. It's the posting of it that's the most interesting thing. It's not that you did it. It's that you filmed it and then you made it public online, which turns it from a thing you're doing to a thing you want people to see you're doing, which is a little bit weird. And so at that point, because it's not like, this was taken off of his phone or something. At that point, I then have to evaluate what message you're trying to send. And then I have to take that message and compare it to what you're really doing. So if the message is, look at me being intimidating or whatever, well then at that point I have to point out that you apparently found the most rotted half-standing tree in the entire forest to punch, which is a little bit weird. I watched Bloodsport growing up. I've watched the Rocky movies. I get the idea of punching a tree. They weren't punching trees that were half dead at the point.
Sure.
And the thing is, again, this isn't even really about him. I don't really care about Madison Cawthorn. He will inevitably take himself down with saying incredibly racist stuff and stuff like that. That's coming in like a year. For me, it's that why do right wingers have to do all of this performative masculine BS? I don't get the need. And more importantly, I don't understand why it's appealing to their voters. Why their voters want to see them shoot a bill in a campaign ad or cook bacon on their gun as if that has anything to do with Ted Cruz. I just don't get any of that stuff. Sure. And I definitely don't think it's good for America.
Well, I don't know. So for one, it's just cultural in some ways, right? It is the same as, and you're already saying this, right? All of the gun ads, all of these, that politicians use, where they'll, have a gun or be shooting something or whatever it is. There is something. The Republican Party is a more masculine party, I think we can say, and they play into that role, as much as they can. I think their voters like it. I think certainly in the South, I know that plays. We both lived in Texas. That's going to play in Texas, right? That sort of gun-toting, kick-ass, big truck. This guy is going to play well in Texas. So there is that kind of cultural piece that's going on. The need to show it, right? The man who has to say I am the king, right? The need to show it is a different thing. But I think that's a psychological thing, as much as it is a political play, right? I need to show my voters how tough I am. And you think about guys like, there are some tough guys in Congress, right? Ex-Marines, ex-military, these type of guys. They rarely do that type of thing unless they're old and they're trying to show I used to be in the whatever. But it's usually the guys who are a little, more nerdy, like Ted Cruz, right? Or folks who have to kind of prove, hey, I'm one of the tough guys too. So I think that's what the play is they're trying to sort of acculturate themselves as a piece of that masculine Southern conservative heritage.
I think you're mostly right. Like, I think for someone like Ted Cruz, there's more of a need to do it. But look, Dan Crenshaw served in the military, and he still put together the cringiest campaign ad, fake action movie ever. So there's more of enough of that to go around.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.